This is a review of my client 1 for 8.2. So here we can see this is a graph I created for your heart rate. You are represented by the blue, and then as you can see it gradually builds up from athletic valued heart rate to a pool valued heart rate in line with this table here. And as you can see, you are actually just above the, well, lower than the athletic standard heart rate, which is very good. So if we move on, these are just your overall health tests. We'll discuss the results properly soon. So here is your blood pressure, and this is a chart I created to show your systolic pressure in line with the recommended, diastolic pressure in line with the recommended, and as you can see from looking at it, you're slightly below the preferred average, national average, but on the graph over to the left here, you can see that you still fit in with a healthy blood pressure. However, it wouldn't be an issue to make it slightly higher, just to prevent the risk of low blood pressure. Your BMI here, due to your age being 17, it goes on a centile basis, so as we can see on the right here, so it's very different from the actual adult tables. So this places you at the 25th centile based on your height and weight, which is a very healthy weight, perfectly fine. Your lung function check, or peak flow. So this graph here is showing you in line with your 3 attempts here in the pale blue. The average for someone your age and height, roughly, and then your average. So as you can see here, you're actually quite far below, which it's not too concerning. It's not too low, but it's still something to be watched. You're at obviously 323 litres per minute, and it's believed that people your height and age should be around 423 litres per minute. Your waist to hip ratio, so this is a table here to show roughly what it should be for your age group, but here's more of a generalisation of what's excellent and what's at risk. So you fit into a relatively good waist hip ratio, especially with your build. You've got more of an ectomorphic build, so it's not very concerning given the results of your other health checks either. So it's not something I feel the need to keep an eye on or anything. You seem very healthy. So here we will evaluate your goals, your physical activity, nutrition, lifestyle, physical health. So I believe with your goals, the strengths of your goals were that they were very achievable, what you wanted to do, very practical, and they were suitable for you and your sporting life and where you want to be. I would say, however, that it would be nice if we could increase the time you're able to put into this program for your long-term goal, just to ensure the right adaptations take place. Just because you gave us a slightly limited amount of time to do it, and it's still possible, but in order to maximise the results, it would be good if we could further the amount of time you're willing to commit to this, or able to commit to this. In terms of your physical activity, you do get a good amount of regular weekly exercise in your netball sessions, your swimming, you do a lot of walking, and you use the gym occasionally. So you are actually in line with the national guidelines for someone your age. You're actually well over it, which is perfectly good and healthy. You get a good range of exercise in terms of, your aerobic. You get a bit of strength going, speed, all sorts. So I said you do a lot of walking. Your leadership preference, more of a democratic leadership style, and the environment you liked, which was either one-to-one or group, is very helpful, because then it doesn't limit you on where you can exercise. You can do classes, you can be in big groups, you can also have a one-to-one with a trainer, and you like competition, so it could be a case of setting yourself goals to beat your personal bests, to compete with yourself, good for your motivation. The only issue we had with physical health is that you said you were uncomfortable with the use of heavy free weights a lot of the time, so we may have to rule that out, or we may have to rule that out and use lighter weights if we have to use free weights, but that's okay, because you said you don't mind using machines, which is fine, and you said obviously you do like more of a team-based environment if you can help it, but certain aspects of training may have to be done in a more isolated environment, just to ensure that you're getting as much as you can out of the session. In terms of your nutrition, you said you're a pescatarian, which implies you get a very good balance of fruit and vegetables. You 5 a day, you're in line with that perfectly, and you said you eat a lot of fish, obviously in line with your chosen diet, which implies you've got a very healthy diet with low amounts of saturated fat and bad fats, a relatively good amount of protein, because fish can be very good for you. Fibre levels are good. You said you have carbohydrates with all meals, but in a relative amount, which is good, especially with the amount of energy you're using in a week. So they counteract each other, so it'll be easy for you to maintain, gain or lose weight, depending on how many carbohydrates you eat in proportion to how much exercise you're doing. Vitamin consumption, no worries because of your diet once again. You don't eat any red or greasy meat typically, which means your heart's probably in very good health, as is your arteries, and it reduces the risk of cardiovascular illnesses. You're definitely eating at least 1,500 calories, the 70 grams of fat, 20 grams or less of saturates, enough carbohydrates, 260 grams roughly, 90 grams of sugar and 50 grams of protein. I'm happy with the amount you're eating. You're eating to a good schedule, 3 meals a day. I think your nutrition's relatively healthy. However, I would say just to make sure that there's enough protein in your diet, because it could be a thing of if you're eating more vegetables than you are, say, fish, you might be having a slight lack of protein, which could affect training slightly, but not massively with your diet. And you said you snack a little bit sometimes more sugary stuff, sometimes healthier snacks, such as fruit and veg. And maybe if you're snacking a few times through the day on the more chocolatey sort of things with more saturates, maybe try and substitute that for an apple or a pear or something healthier. And I'm slightly concerned maybe about your consumption of sodium, which isn't a huge issue, but it might be good in helping with your heart rate coming up slightly, your blood pressure even, to come up slightly. So we'll just have to monitor that. Your lifestyle overall is very good. You get a good quantity and pattern of sleep. You get a full 8 hours most nights, pretty much every night you said. You maybe drink once a week, maybe, so not a concern. You don't smoke, never have done. You don't have regular stress levels, and if the day you are ever stressed, it's very low. You get good levels of social aspects in your life with your friends, and you like to exercise to cope with any stress you have. So it shows you're very healthy in your ways of dealing with stress, and your mental well-being is quite good. So physical health, minimal issues besides the muscular injury to your knee, but otherwise you have very good physical and mental health. So this is an evaluation of the results of your health checks. So your heart rate was 51 beats per minute, as we said, very good, classed as athletic for your age and gender, no worries there, it's excellent. Your blood pressure was still in a healthy range, but it could be considered slightly low, and maybe best to try and raise it slightly just to prevent any issues. Your BMI, once again, very healthy, 25th centile. Your lung function, you had an average of 323 litres per minute. It is a bit low for your age and height, like I said. It could be an indication of a lung-based issue, respiratory issue, such as asthma maybe. But you said you've never suffered with it, so it could be maybe underlying. But it's not too low that it causes a massive concern. And I said with your waist to hip ratio, you had a 0.54, which it might be slightly low for your age, but equally, due to your more ectomorphic figure and your amount of activity in sport, it's not concerning. You still seem with a healthy weight for your age. So here we're going to talk about how I'd like to improve your blood pressure. So my first strategy would be your diet. So proposing to you a slight increase in sodium, salt, just to bring up the sodium levels in your blood, in your body. You could do this simply by seasoning dishes more, a bit more salt, seasoning, making your own sauces and dressings where you can monitor the salt input. Maybe go with saltier veg or brinier things, just things that have a higher salt content in, not too high, just a minimal, like a very small amount more just to bring it up. It's good for you to maintain your current water consumption. You said you're drinking about 3 litres a day, if not 2.5 to 3 litres, which is very good. It's they advise you drink 2 litres a day, so that's good. If you can, maybe raise it by a litre, just to help with the viscosity of blood, keep it moving very easily. Make sure you stay hydrated throughout all your sporting activity, because you do perform a lot of sport, which means your body will consume the levels of water inside it much faster. So you will need to be drinking a little more than the national average, like the national sort of recommendation. Continue keeping your alcohol consumption low, just because it has been proven that high consumption of alcohol can raise blood pressure to an unhealthy rate. It's not an advised way of raising your blood pressure, so just to make sure everything stays safe and everything else in your body stays safe, keep it low. Don't use it as a quick way to help raise blood pressure. It'd be very unhealthy. As we're only trying to raise your blood pressure a little bit, only a small amount, your diet is going to be very helpful in that you can adapt it a lot, but keep it very healthy so that it definitely won't go too high. And we don't want it going above that 120/80 mark. So your diet's going to be very helpful in helping you to maintain that. So your second strategy, in terms of exercise, I'd say try and swim more often. You said you usually swim maybe once a week, maybe once every fortnight, just because that is very good cardiovascular exercise, very good anaerobic and aerobic if you're going quickly. Anaerobic if you're going quickly, aerobic for endurance sort of swimming. It's very good for you, your muscles, very good for your muscles, your heart, your lungs and everything. So I'd say try and fit in maybe 2 swimming sessions, half an hour to an hour, continuous swimming. You could also add in maybe 5, swim a few laps, take a 5-minute break, that kind of thing. Just to help, all of this exercise is hoping to carry over with cardiac hypertrophy, improve the overall usage of your heart, the efficiency of it. Maybe try cycling when you're in a gym at high intensity, just because that's proven for very good cardiovascular exercise, and should help, once again, promote hypertrophy, make cardiac output more efficient, everything about your heart more efficient, just to help with blood pressure slightly, make that heart stronger, just so we make sure we're not putting you at risk of going too high or too low, and maintain your netball participation, because this is very good regular exercise. So in terms of your lifestyle, ensure you keep walking as often as possible. It's not about making it so that your heart becomes so good that it drops your blood pressure even lower, but it should hopefully help in bringing it up slightly, in line with your diet, which is something we need to monitor very carefully because we don't want to get too low. So yeah, walk as often as possible, and if you're walking, maybe go for the longer routes, use stairs or elevators wherever possible, and use hills rather than flat surfaces to walk, just because, once again, this will help with your overall aerobic fitness, and hopefully help to just balance out the blood pressure slightly, and yeah, make you healthier overall.